Hi, this is Jeff Kober. Let's visit the 2021 Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival. At the entrance, we have Sorcerer Mickey along with his brooms and just kind of spreading flowers all around rather than throwing water all over. And you could see the blooms. So just look at the blooms in the background. Just really beautiful. They give a little bit of height, a lot of color to what's going on. But those aren't the only balloon topiaries out front. If you look over there, you see some mushrooms even before you get to the turnstiles. And then over here, you see the hippo and crocodile from Fantasia. And they are well represented here. And then a new treat you can see right in front of us. New banners which have been put up, new flag posts to mark the entrance into Epcot. The display looks a little different than what I recall in the original drawing. I think they were a little spread out. Here they're a little more combined, and they're not really in front of Spaceship Earth, so they don't, you could take a good picture without it. And what I see of it, it looks like both sides are identical to each other. I see the land, I see seas, I see imagination, I see motion, and I see the what looks to be the signature for Spaceship Earth. So beautiful, beautiful. And did you notice, I'm just doing a 360 all the way around here. Just listen. Epcot has a new soundtrack at its entrance. Instead of the formally playing kind of the hits of different attractions, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which had long left, but the song was still playing. It has a unique soundtrack. I haven't made out what it embodies, if it's an original set of pieces or if it's taken from set of pieces. You can see the flags there. Nice little touch with those. And let's see, these aren't waving in the wind as much, but and then I think the whole nighttime, we'll come back to it. I think it has a whole new lighting package to it. And you can see beyond the construction as Innovations West continues to be torn down piece by piece. And good, nice little healthy crowd here at the park, and we'll continue our walk into the Epcot experience for Flower and Garden. I spoke of those icons in the flags. There were 5 of them, the same ones on each side, but if you look along this wall panel, you'll see that there are many more icons than are represented. In fact, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 icons represented along this wall. So not sure why they chose those 5 and only those 5, but there is a larger number. And you can see again Innovations West dramatically being decomposed, removed, steel beam by steel beam as we go through. It's just a beautiful day in the park. It's a healthy crowd, but again, on days like this, at the beginning of the Flower and Garden Festival, you could expect to have pretty much the entire parking lot taken up by guests visiting. And it's nothing close to that today. Let's go check out some things here on this side of Future World. Here's some lovely plant containers. Again, Spaceship Earth reflected. The only thing that would make this perfect right now is a monorail passing through it. We decided the first thing we are going to do is check out the Goodness Garden Butterfly House, which is a Madison favorite, and Madison is with me today. So we are going to head on side and see the butterfly exhibit. As always, this is a beautiful setting for seeing the butterflies. And you've got some terrace sculptures here that really make a very nice entry point as you step inside. And there are butterflies trying to not to step on any of them. And cocoons, cocoon houses for future butterflies as they come through. And lots of different beautiful plants. It's nice and shaded in here. Colorful. Now usually there's a little bit of a water element, so we're missing that here, but it has made up for it with some really nice uses of color and a variety of flower plants. It says here, did you know sunshine gives butterflies the fuel to fly and play? If you don't see them in the morning, try spotting them when it's warmer in the day. Yeah, I think butterflies and humans are kind of alike. I know I get a lot of fuel from a good sunny day. I guess they do like the sunshine because the one little sunny spot here in the tent, they're all canvassing right up against it. So I guess butterflies like sunshine. I think Figment here needs a larger planter because it's got a lot of strollers around it. But he's standing right in front of the entrance to Imagination. Somehow he looks a lot bigger than I remember him in other festivals. I think he grew his wings. And over here, speaking of growing wings, here's some wonderful butterflies that are done with topiary. And they just capture the sun really well right here. It's a nice little touch. I love the use of these bright yellow, orange, and red flowers at the base of this Lion King exhibit right here on the corner. You can see Spaceship Earth behind. It's kind of a focal point as you come back into Future World, and it's a nice little touch. My favorite part of the Flower and Garden Festival is this blanket of flowers that always canvasses this side of the park along the water's edge. On both sides you could see it, and there's always a Mickey at one point in it, or two maybe. Just serene, very beautiful, and just full of color and light. This centerpiece of the park is blocked off due to all the construction, but they made use of it by having Goofy put a hammer and some nails in Goofy's hands, as well as paint brushes, the paint bucket in Mickey and Minnie's topiary. And so we're right at home in the middle of the construction here at Epcot. Very appropriate. I don't think that'll ever be repeated, but it works for this year. This little section is called Outdoor Escapes. It's presented by Off, and it kind of provides a social distance gathering place, casual sit down and relax kind of corner to this little part of the park with some ideas about how you might put these same kind of plants and look and feel into your own garden. I'm not sure that this little corner with Bambi and Thumper and Flower has actually been moved. It was here this time last year, and I think it stayed through the summer and into the fall. Still a nice little set of topiaries. With the setting sun, Buzz Lightyear looks perfect in front of Mission Space. And beyond, we see the Play Pavilion, which I understand from a conversation I had with a key cast member that it is been stopped in terms of production, but it was well underway and it could be restarted or easily. And then rumors over here for the Space 220 restaurant was that it would be that they are currently hiring folks to occupy positions for that restaurant. So we'll see if maybe we'll see something by summer. Speaking of Space 220, there's a box in the front which will probably house the signage for the restaurant. And then this entire side of the queue has been probably dedicated to what will be the entrance. And you can see a black fence beyond that, which is probably the location where guests will enter to be beamed up, so to speak, to 220 miles up north in space to experience this very unique restaurant concept. So you could see that's probably where the entrance is. You could see some back, kind of you go behind a panel there, and probably into some kind of, I want to say hydrolator, because it's a very much like an elevator kind of concept, similar to what was at the Living Seas in early years. If you remember the hydrolator, it took you deep down into the depths of the ocean, a total of 1/2 inch. But it seemed like a lot to some people, apparently. At any rate, you can kind of see this. By the way, here's a really cool thing here. At the bottom, you see these tracks against kind of an orange cement. It says Spirit and Opportunity. These exploration rovers landed on Mars on January 4th of 04 and January 25th of 04. We're back and we're on Mars. Sean O'Keefe, NASA administrator. So very cool. We need another one of these for the recent landings that have taken place on Mars, because the exploration continues, and it's kind of cool. Okay, coming from the other direction, I would have missed this presentation, which is about prehistoric plantscapes, and it's got a number of potted palms and ferns with little toy dinosaurs in there. This is probably the silliest presentation I have seen in the flower and garden, and its size and so forth. It's not doing it for me. All right, we haven't even made it out of Future World, and we found something very interesting: an avocado toast with marinated toy box tomatoes and fresh goat cheese, and a toasted ciabatta. We have fried cinnamon roll bites with a cream cheese frosting and candied bacon, and we have Fruit Loops shake. So, hey, we're gonna try this, see what it's like. More to come. So what we just did is the Sunshine Griddle, which is near Test Track, and both Madison and I had a chance to enjoy it. By the way, there is a new policy that came out from Disney. When you're not literally eating, they invite you to have the mask on. So we're going to step up our observance of that and make sure that our reviews are done with a mask and not just standing around the table without one. Anyway, a lot of highlights on that one. What do you think, Madison?
For the Fruit Loops smoothie, it was good. It was kind of like Fruit Loops if they were meshed with milk. I thought it was sweet, but I don't know.
It was fun. It was just a fun food.
It was different.
Yeah. The avocado toast I thought was the best.
Yeah, I thought that was good. I expected the bread to be hard, but it was actually a lot soft, and it contrasted well with the goat cheese, the vegetables, and avocado, which is weird because I'm not a big fan of avocado.
Yeah, I thought the cinnamon, I thought the goat cheese and the avocado worked really great. The tomatoes, it was all great. Fresh flowers on it was it was a beautiful looking treat. And then I really thought that the cinnamon roll thing was okay, but it was a lot of sugar, in my view. We want to get a good view of not only we got the flowers in the background there on this side of the pavilion, but they also had a beef brisket with potato barrels. Love potato barrels, and a soft poached egg. Didn't see that immediately on the menu, and I'm a sucker for eggs. And the other one was shrimp and grits, and that looked really good when I stepped up to the kitchen.
Can I talk about the dessert?
Oh yeah, please.
It was just sweet. It had a lot of cream on the inside, and it had some cinnamon, and it had some bits of bacon on top, but I didn't taste a lot of the bacon. It wasn't overwhelming.
Yeah, the dessert I could have foregone, but I want to try the other bites there. Probably not today, but definitely on another occasion when we're back here for the festival. Let's. I think we're ready to head on to World Showcase. While we're here at the Odyssey at the Epcot experience, I thought we'd take another look at this big map on the wall and see kind of where we're at now. Right along here is where all of that former Innovations West area has been torn down. You see that the building still remains up here for Mouse Gear and for the restaurant that's going in for this area up here. But this whole side has been torn down. If you kind of look at it, they're wanting the guests to kind of flow in on the right, which is how guests tend to flow in. That doesn't mean they can't come in the left, but they're expecting a larger flow of guests. They can go this way, but also veer off to the side. And then you see the Moana experience, but the Moana experience actually leads you indirectly toward the seas down here. Whereas the former bridge that led you across to the land pavilion is going to be still straight away. Now there's this purple band that comes up here. I don't know what's becoming of that. And of course, we don't know how they're going to address this pavilion that was intended to allow guests to see Harmonious way up in the top from the top of this tower. All of that is subject to be determined, but it gives you a good idea of what's happening in that space and how really there's going to be two flows of traffic, a major flow here and then one that kind of puts you through here and leads you to the seas on this end. In fact, you can see how the water has almost become a continuous flow into the current pools that are currently here. So very interesting how that is being laid out. So since we've last been to Epcot, something new has emerged on the scene. A lot of fans out there are calling it Stargate. Madison, what do you think about our...
I see why it's called Stargate. I haven't seen that movie, but this is... It definitely looks like I'm about to look forward to something pretty big.
It does, doesn't it? And yet we're missing two of the tacos. These teardrop, kind of half teardrop shapes. There's another two that's going to go on the other opposite sides. And they're going to form kind of a compass from kind of overhead. I think one of the things that I heard from another podcast, I want to say maybe from the Diz, and something I was not aware of is that these barges may well be intended to sink down about 8 feet, and that they are actually in maintenance mode right now. Now, if you remember from the World of Color show at Disney's California Adventure, they're able to pull all of their fountains up to the surface, and frankly, it's not a pretty sight. This is not a pretty sight either, but I could see that if they were able to successfully sink them another 8 feet so that those tacos where it's perpendicular could just be right flat to the surface, I think that would make this look a whole lot more endearing. Add fountains during the day and a show at night, and it may just work perfectly. I say sinking because I don't think the Stargate looks like it could be sunk any further without having the circular portion actually be into the lagoon. And I think they're going to want a complete circle above the lagoon. You also see that in front and in back, it's hard to see the one in back, but there are additional arms that will stretch out from that circular device that will spray water and have color and light as well. So it's all part of the, well, I wanted to say riddle, but it was Ridley. I believe the last name of the Imaginary, says they're just getting underway to making this all work. So maybe there's a lot more to come. in terms of the preparations for this show. It does look Herculean, and I'm not alluding to the fact that the artistic images have Hercules in them whenever you see it. So more to come. So there's a little flower map that guests are taking around the park. You pay for that privilege, and as you find all the different characters, bring it back. You get one of 4 plates, one with kind of a mini in Japan or China, another with our little bee friend, another with Figment, another with Orange Bird. Cute little plates. I don't think they're intended to be eaten on, but they are very cute decorative plates, and they are part of the entire flower and garden experience. The Pineapple Promenade has a spicy hot dog, a mixed berry buttermilk cake, and of course the infamous Dole Whip. Right now here at dinner time, there's a healthy line, people ready to sample from its cuisine. Madison has gone on to the plant-based options booth to get what is a corn on the cob kind of concoction she was really excited about. And we're gonna just come around here because Daisy and Donald and Huey, Dewey, and Louie are at the opposite end of this promenade, and they've got their gardening tools, and they look set for the Flower and Garden Festival. And in between, remember we had talked about Goofy and Mickey and Minnie painting on the other end of this, and in between is Pluto, and it's a topiary of him. So they're kind of holding up both ends of this promenade area. And you can see again the Stargate and in the water. All right, Madison could not say no to the street market corn on the cob with the grilled garlic on it. It's a pretty healthy sampling. I thought it'd be half the size, so it seemed like it was that way last time it was served here at the festival. Anyway, we'll try it out. Most of the Trell and Trellis offers Impossible Plant products, and some of them are really good, but this case Madison had the corn on the cob. So as we start our way around World Showcase Madison, give us a review on the corn. It was a full-size ear, and it seemed like it was a half size last time. What did you think of it?
Well, last time I had it, it was still full size. It wasn't half at all. But
Okay.
it was fresh. It had the sauce and like some spices and lots of butter. Like half of it is sauce and the other is just bare. But both sides are still pretty good.
Okay. Well, there you have it. And with some of the other choices, that might be a great one to consider when you're here at the Flower and Garden Festival. We are moving on through Mexico and beyond. You know, year-round, there's so much to capture plant and flower-wise at the Norway Pavilion. Some really wonderful varieties of plants. But of course, if you want the topiary, you got to come during Flower and Garden. And here we have Anna and Elsa in perfect topiary form, and looking really good. And usually there's a character meet and greet behind the fence, so to speak, of her. Don't see that happening. You see the flowers on top of the roof. I think those have kind of been added as well during the Flower and Garden Festival. So lots of little touches throughout. The Frozen line starts here at the entrance of China. But if you take a look into China, they've taken the main pathway leading up to the temple, and they've created a whole little maze to hold guests when there are a lot of folks wanting to go on Frozen. Kind of messy. It's good for social distancing, but kind of lax for me. Doesn't make me really want to come into the China Pavilion and check things out when the main pathway is just completely blocked So a little disappointing in my opinion. On a slightly better note, over to the side though, you do find these pandas, topiary pandas, and then also these sculptures of animals of the zodiac done using a lot of seeds and shells, and they're very cute in terms of how they've been laid out. They're kind of a mainstay that usually come out every year this time of year. The dog one with his
Wheat ears.
yeah, wheat ears. Those are big wheat ears, and that is one serious rooster I do not want to mess with. So again, lots of little details in the China Pavilion that's always here. Even if you're not here during the flower and garden, you could still capture some really lovely pieces, like where these falls, where the water commences into the pavilion. This little brook, this little nook right here, leading into the main pond with its lily pads and so forth. Again, some really nice little touches, even when you're not here during flower and garden. Okay, it doesn't matter what festival it is. Germany always tends to be very popular, and I don't know why they just don't call it the Food and Beer Festival, because everybody gets their favorite brew here and stands in line for their strudel. And again, very popular. Of course, our favorite place, Caramel Couche, with its handcrafted caramel treats. Guests enter this way nowadays into the pavilion, which I kind of like better actually than the way it was before, but always incredibly popular. And it smells great, doesn't it?
You can smell it all the way outside.
Yeah, you can well smell it outside. Don't know if a smelter is involved, but you can definitely smell it from the outside. Additionally, there's some interesting flower. Look at this. So kind of like a little miniature home similar to what you find in the train garden, and kind of done in different levels with this really unique wood. And you see a number of different little houses and gardens. And then over here, now usually all the dwarfs are present. This year it looks like it's just Snow White and Dopey. But they are present in topiary. Not a great location. I don't like to see Snow White put in front of the restrooms. That's kind of a miss there. But beyond that, there's still stuff to be redeemed here, because we of course have the train garden, and that is a favorite of mine. And the trains are operating right now, and you see, I can see four different trains right now coming up and down different locations. And you see the Flower and Garden Festival flags in the town square. And this is just always a great little, again, going back to great flower and garden places to visit, even when you're not at the Flower and Garden Festival. This is one of those places. This is decked up a little bit more during this festival. Here's a train passing by, Golden Pass, panoramic, little tourist train passing by. But you always can find the trains operating here, and plenty of little details. Notice, I didn't check that out. It's hard to see over there. The little factory's got smoke coming out of it. A little hard to see from here. I'm checking out on the other train that's coming through here, and it's coming a lot slower than the first train. Maybe it's because it has more cars attached to it. But nice little touch. Again, it's one of those places you can visit even when there's not a Flower and Garden Festival going on. At the base of the bell tower, we see this Nice little floral exhibit. But here's the real winner. Look at this. Now this is usually the little main little plaza where they do a lot of entertainment. It has literally been transformed into one big flower centerpiece. Just stacked row after row after row going up its terrace. Nice effect. This is a wow. I just always love the potted plants during the Flower and Garden Festival that you find here in Italy. And it is clearly the case here. And we'll walk around it and see how it looks on the other side. We're losing a little bit of light, but this is something you cannot see any other time of year. In fact, I've never seen this put on. Nothing of this grandeur. It's always been great to have the potted plants in Italy, but this takes it to a whole different level, and it is stunningly beautiful. We'll just circle back around and head on through. Very nicely done here in Italy. Okay, now stepping out toward the Venetian canals, more potted plants, but here you have the boats in dock, and above or across you see a topiary lady and tramp with again more potted flowers. It's just, and then behind us, behind the gondolas of the topiary and the poles, you have Spaceship Earth. Just a beautiful, nice setting. This is a setting that's often used for exclusive group events at night during the fireworks. And right now they are already taking reservations in the fall, for the fall, for guests who are wanting to book group space for the nighttime show. So, you know, something's coming. And it's coming soon, hopefully sooner than later. Work still being finalized on the new gelato place that will be opening, hopefully before the end of the Flower and Garden Festival. And as sun sets, we move into the American Adventure. Big sunflowers at the Regal Eagle Smokehouse. This is probably why they call it the Taste of Epcot Flower and Garden Festival, because what you are missing is really the kind of show bands that you usually have during these festivals. And here they've got during the day Mariachi Cobre, Voices of Liberty, and Epic Live. Haven't seen that show, we'll have to check that out. As dust settles, we're here in Japan. By the way, Epic Live at World American Adventure Pavilion is actually a local band that's playing top 40 kind of hits. Now we're looking at the pagoda and of course the new elements for Harmonious, but notice the dragon that sits in the courtyard. I'm a little surprised to see this here because it's usually in China. But again, maybe they took it out of China because they've made it into a queue for the Frozen attraction. It's a little disappointing. It doesn't look bad here. Kind of looks almost perfectly situated with this pagoda, but it really was intended originally for the China Pavilion. I know that the sun is setting, but I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the Gardens of Japan, and it begins here at the base of the pond with the koi fish. We move upstream with the water, and while all of this that you're seeing right now is available any time of year, what is very cool during the Flower and Garden Festival is that they add some very specialized bonsai plants that are just amazing in and of themselves. You can see some others in different forms, different varieties. Even one that doesn't really bear leaves right now, but all really super cool, and they just add to the whole ambiance here in Japan. So great stuff to check out during the Flower and Garden, but remember, it is always beautiful here in Japan any time of year. Okay, I keep forgetting the name of the bee, which is Spike. But I will say, in my defense, I've actually seen him in the, what was it, 1940s, 1950s short films years and years ago. So I do lay claim to that. What it is you have to find Spike using your flower petal card and note the plant that he's standing in front of, which is a good thing to learn because I see this plant all the time, bromelia. Bromelia? And put that on the card, and then you get the plate at the end of your choosing. And they have a little exhibit here as to how topiaries are made. So what I'd really like to talk about is World Showplace. And if I were to identify 3 things I would keep, and this will be a future podcast, 3 things I would keep from this pandemic. One of those 3 things would be World Showplace. It was such a blessing to be able to go indoors to air conditioning when this park reopened in July. And such a blessing. And usually there's some really good treats here. Now, here's my, and there's entertainment too, which is really great about this very large pavilion, lots of places to eat, not as many to sit at least tables to stand around. My only complaint, again, I like some of the, I ordered the dark chocolate raspberry tart that was preceded by the house-made potato and cheddar biscuit, and I looked at that thing and I thought, this is gonna look dry. I need a drink to go with this. But I'm telling you, and I know that pavilion was called Cider House, but they did have a Johnny Appleseed kind of non-alcoholic drink for the last 2 years, and it wasn't, at least in that queue, I don't think it's in the festival favorites either. And in fact, my complaint is that there's only one non-alcoholic drink. I mean, besides getting bottled water, there's only one place to get a drink, and that's here at Festival Favorites, and it's lemonade, frozen lemonade, which doesn't seem that exciting. So where I'm going with this, I just really am disappointed that there aren't more choices for those who choose not to drink. The biscuit actually was well, it was moist actually, so that was the good news. But it was cold, and a fresh biscuit is really something that comes warm out of the oven. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. The other side of the disappointment was the tart. It was dry. It was the thing that was dry. So again, a little bit on the side of disappointing here, but notwithstanding, I don't want to miss the fact that World Showplace is a really good place to be on a very hot day at Epcot. Returning outside to World Showcase, it has turned dark. So we're gonna have to showcase a lot of the other wonderful garden exhibits on another date. But I did want to show you the center of the lagoon with its new hardware for Harmonious. You can imagine in just a few months, everybody gathering around to see this thing. It's going to be a very exciting time, and it's going to breathe a new chapter into Epcot's life, as well as Ratatouille, Space 220, the Guardians of the Galaxy experience. So much, the changes coming all through what was Future World. Lots on the horizon for Epcot. It's pretty exciting. I am so pumped. We are back here at the entrance to Epcot, and it looks so glorious. Of course, we have the new fountain, but behind it you see the flags that have been put up. You can see them a little closer right here. As I bring to it, you hear the music, but look at how they have created a new lighting experience that wraps around the perimeter in a shade of light that keeps flowing and changing. It is spectacular. It is really a beautiful, beautiful entrance plaza, and it's really gives you the excitement it feels like a new Epcot. It really does. It is so beautifully done, and I am so, it just, and the music, I've got to figure out the music as to what its source is, but there's just this great sense of being here, and a great sense of the promise of what lies ahead for Epcot. Thank you for joining us this day as we begin the Flower and Garden Festival here at Epcot for 2021. I assure you we'll be back here with more reviews. Go to disneyatplay.com. We'll post our review of all of the foods that we've tried. There are several that have come back, and we've had them before, so we'll give you those reviews too. And we'll keep bringing the magic from Epcot and all points here at Walt Disney World. Thank you for joining us, and in the words of Sinbad's storybook voyage, always follow the compass of your heart. Have a great day.